1 week every September, the owners and crews of the largest and fastest yachts on the planet assemble in Porto, Sardinia for the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup. Now in its 23rd edition, it's a gathering like no other. The world's finest sailors racing its most technologically advanced boats on one of its most demanding racetracks. Hosting 34 yachts in 5 classes, the 2012 event sees a renewal of old rivalries as Estimate Europa 2 clashes with Highland Fling in the Maxi Racing division, and Nelaya locks horns with Saudade in the Super Maxis. Among the yachts making their debut is Hamilton, the first of the Nucentos taking on more seasoned opposition in the Wally class, and the 200-foot Heteros, a huge but deceptively agile addition to the Super Maxi fleet. But nowhere is the competition tighter than the 12-yacht mini-maxi class, where the defending world champions Nicholas Zenstrom's Ran 2 face a concerted assault on their title from the likes of Shockwave, new Italian challenger Stig, and Keolila. Their biggest potential adversary, though, is the new Bellamente. It's the third vessel so named by owner Hap Fouth, but one of the few privately owned yachts equipped with a sail metric system to monitor their shape and performance during racing.
To do this, we use 3 cameras, 2 for measuring the mainsail and 1 on the foredeck for the jibs. And using a piece of software, we're able to take a photograph of the sail and measure all the cambers and the shapes and the metrics of that sail as we're sailing along. It's quite a big step forward. But now we've got a very detailed record of the evolution of the sail in all sorts of different conditions, and we're able to compare all that data that we're gathering and combine it with our normal performance data, our speed and our wind and our heel angles and things like that.
Apart from a broader, more powerful hull shape, other innovations include a network of load-measuring sensors in the yacht's rigging, a less pronounced sweep to its spreaders, and an improved winch layout, all designed to close the gap on Zenstrom's Ran 2.
Nicholas and his entire team spend a tremendous amount of time on the water, and they're deep in the details. So the boats run very well, and historically they don't make mistakes. And that's the name of the game with this type of close competition. You'll get flushed out the back of the fleet if you're making mistakes. Just analyzing history, Ran is for sure the favorite. But we do intend to give them a run for their money. You should know that.
Maxi yachts have been racing off the Costa Smeralda since 1980, but with the first of the coastal courses around the rock-strewn islands of the Maddalena archipelago to negotiate on day 1, the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup still amounts to a week of dry mouths and sweaty palms for some.
As a navigator, it's certainly the 1 week of the year here in September where we're always very nervous. It's often around rocks, and the modern-day boats are very, very deep. You're constantly battling what's safe versus what's fast, and yeah, it's a full-on week for sure.
It's a competitive world. Everyone tries to go as close as they can, or they dare. And you try to keep the boat safe. You try to know as much as you can about all these rocks and islands, especially if you have a nice and quiet day. Before the regatta, try to go out in a dinghy and go and swim on some rock you would like to know better, basically.
We'll jump in the water and actually put the face mask on, look at the rock, try and work out where it is, and gain some detail above and beyond what the normal charts are going to give you.
Every year you're probably on a slightly different boat as well, so you have to readjust. Currently our boat draws 6.5 metres, whereas I might have been here before in a boat which draws 3 metres, so there are a lot of rocks here which are a problem for the bigger boats.
Jules Salter's boat is bigger than most. He's responsible for guiding Charles Dunstan's brand new 100-foot racer cruiser, Hamilton, around each of the 60 or so courses available and balancing the risks with the rewards.
You do get nervous. You only need to take your eye off for a second. Something might prevent you from turning when you want to turn, or there can be a swell at the wrong time, and you're only talking about missing things by 2 or 3 meters. That's why you don't push it too close, but you still have to push it pretty close. And you also got to have in the back of your mind the level of risk. I mean, some of the prices of some of these boats, you're not going to do very well if you have a big grounding.
Try and keep it square to his frame.
A day into the regatta, and the rocks have already claimed their first victim. The impact that stops mini-maxi contender Shockwave dead in its tracks just a few minutes before the end of the coastal race sends 15 crew through the safety rail.
The whole front of the bulb has lifted up. All the paint's delaminated. It was a big hit, for sure. We're going to grind it back, fill it, try and get some paint on it, and go in the water at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Its rocks make Sardinia one of the most geologically ancient bodies of land in Europe. But it's the longevity of its people that has earned a worldwide distinction. While the average number of centenarians per 100,000 people elsewhere in the Western world usually stands between 7 and 12, the figure in Sardinia is a remarkable 22. In an ongoing study, Professor Luca Diana and colleagues attribute the vitality of Sardinia's senior citizens, like Caterina Maras, to genetics, active lifestyles in a warm climate, and dietary factors, including a modest consumption of red wine.
Nel vino abbiamo scoperto un'altra cosa, che il vino produce un'azione nel processo di ossidazione. Abbiamo individuato delle sostanze che producono la quantità giusta di radicali liberi, quindi non eccesso, perché in eccesso fanno male, danneggiano la cellula, ma la quantità giusta che corrisponde alla quantità di vino che i nostri centenari bevono ogni giorno, da 2 a 3 bicchieri al giorno.
Mariangela Panu has also kept the same habits from the first 70 to 80 years of her life, and like Caterina, she is loved and respected by her family.
Loro sono considerati dalla comunità degli esempi viventi, degli archivi, perché sono delle persone equilibrate, correttissime, delle persone meravigliose che sono sempre esistite in questa grande terra di longevità che è l'isola dei centenari, che è la Sardegna.
After 35-knot winds prevent any racing at all on day 2, the conditions on day 3 in Portogiovo are more benign. While the 4 other classes tackle a 38-mile coastal race in a 15-knot breeze, the mini-maxis stay closer to home for the first of 2 days of windward-leeward racing. Second to round 2 in the opening day coastal race, Bellamente strikes back decisively. The new Yacht Rolex designed 72-footer relishes the conditions and wins both races to establish a healthy lead. The defending champions can manage only 2 fourth places after braking, then hurriedly replacing their boom just before the first race. The repairs made by George Sakalaris' crew on Shockwave hold up as they return to claim 2 top 3 finishes. While open season prevails in the Wally class, it's Igor Simchic's Estimate Europa 2, which again completes the coastal course in the fastest time en route to a win in Maxi racing. Igor is setting the pace in the Maxi Racing cruising class, and Nilaya looks to be without equal in the Super Maxi division. But the Maxis aren't the only story in town. Also being hosted by the yacht club Costa Smeralda in Portogiovo is the 17th edition of the Rolex Swan Cup. Held biennially, the event this year features 55 of the world's top Swan yachts divided into 4 classes, including the Maxi class for yachts of 60 feet or more and the 8-yacht fleet contesting the Swan 45 World Championship. It's a key date in the calendar for Swan aficionados everywhere.
The Rolex Swan Cup is an iconic regatta. It's lovely and rewarding to see how it builds up year after year. And a Swan owner is a person that really loves his boat. He's full of pride. So he comes with a passion, but also with this gentleman-like approach that is characterizing the racing that is here at the Rolex Swan Cup.
Competing alongside the president as tactician on swing in the Maxi class is Sweden's Freddie Loof, last seen winning the star class in dramatic fashion at the 2012 Olympics. He too has been out doing his coursework alongside his navigator for the week, Giuseppe Montella. To scale new heights in an unfamiliar boat, even Olympic gold medalists are sometimes required to plumb new depths.
It is a big change for me right now because I haven't actually been on a big boat in the last 5 years. So you need to look forward much more in time. You need to coordinate the people.
Heading is 121.
Then you have all the instruments and the navigation as part as well when we're doing coastal racing. So it's quite a challenge, but it's good. It's good fun.
Swing is one of 4 competing Swan 60s, a design for which a new circuit and world championship is planned next year.
The Swan 60, I think, is a nice boat. It's quite sensitive. I think even Leonardo learned a few things, so we had nice improvements. So you can see the people who've been sailing the boat more, the Russian team and Emma, those guys, they sail the boat really well and fast.
Setting the pace in the 18-strong Maxi class has indeed been Brunello-Sets, the yacht from St. Petersburg, whose crew has enjoyed a promising first Mediterranean campaign.
Команда работает слаженно, и тот тимбилдинг, который был проведен за эти 4 месяца, лично меня очень впечатлил и удовлетворяет.
Pursued hard all week by James Madden's Swan 601, stark raving mad, Brunello-Sets finishes 3rd to Madden's 4th on the final day of racing, enough to secure class honours by a single point. The margin of victory is almost as tight in the Grand Prix class when Italia eventually triumphs after securing 2 final victories in their week-long duel with fellow Swan 42, Magical Mystery Tour. Marco Gobaudo's Ondine is a clear winner in the 15-strong classic division, while in a depleted but still highly competitive Swan 45 World Championship fleet, there's another impressive showing from Christian Nagel's crew on Early Bird, who see off a determined effort from Italian yacht Tally to secure their 3rd title in a row.
Was wir bemerkt haben, ist über die Zeit jetzt, dass eben andere Boote aber auch besser geworden sind. Und wir fühlten uns nicht mehr so in einer komfortablen Situation wie vielleicht 2008, wo wir das Gefühl hatten, wir haben das wirklich gut im Griff und hatten wirklich einen großen Vorsprung. Diesmal war das sehr knapp, gerade mit Tally, teilweise Ulika, Swanted, die sich sehr verbessert hatten und wir durchaus Schwierigkeiten hatten, teilweise mitzufahren.
4 class winners from 55 entries and 13 competing nationalities. It's been another diverse and colourful display at the Rolex Swan Cup. Sardinia's racing thoroughbreds are not confined to the water. Not far from Porto Giovo is another breed whose speed and agility around the course are highly prized. Anglo-Arab Sardinian horses were originally bred for use by cavalry units, combining the speed and strength of English and Arabian racing bloodstock with the durability and courage of the native Sardinian, a potent mix.
Il cavallo anglo-arabo sardo rispecchia molto il suo territorio, che è un territorio un po' difficile, ma bello. Quindi abbiamo un cavallo che per anni è sempre stato considerato un cavallo più per i professionisti, meno per i dilettanti, proprio per la sua nebrilità e la sua sensibilità.
In more recent years, the horses have earned a reputation in equestrian events, particularly steeplechasing and eventing. It also plays an important role in Sardinian folk festivals like the Ardia di Sedilo, a reckless race around the church of San Costantino that takes place each July. Training the Anglo-Arab Sardinian starts at the age of 3 and is a gradual process. But once trust has been established, the rewards are significant.
Al momento delle competizioni, al momento della verità, danno veramente il tutto e per tutto, perché ha la forza anche del cavaliere e la voglia di vincere. Il cavallo sardo è comunque un cavallo che ha molta voglia di vincere.
Heading into day 4 of the Mini Maxi Rolex World Championship, Hapvalth's Bella Mente is still making most of the running, winning the first of the day's 2 windward-leeward races to extend their lead over Run 2. Winners of the inaugural event in 2010 and successful in their title defense the following year, Nicholas Zenstrom's team recovers their poise to win the second race and close the gap on their nearest challengers. Round 2 then erases Bella's lead altogether by winning the more valuable coastal race on a shortened course the following day. They benefit most from the restart, when the first attempt at a race has to be abandoned because of the dying breeze. Results in the absorbing 3-way battle between Estimate Europa 2, Highland Fling and J-Class yacht Velshida leave matters similarly unresolved in the Maxi Racing division. Velshida's win on day 4, Estimate's on day 5, and Highland Fling's 4 second places puts the 3 diverse contenders on equal points after some spectacular and eventful racing. Matters are more clear-cut in the 8-yacht Wally class, where in the absence of 4-time former winner Y3K, Lindsay Owen-Jones's crew on Magic Carpet Squared hold the advantage. Thomas Boucher's open season is within striking distance, but New Boys Hamilton are still negotiating a steep learning curve. Consistency keeps Brian Benjamin's team on Aguirre clear of their rivals in the Maxi Racing Cruising division, but 4 consecutive wins is enough to secure the Super Maxi title for Philippe Balquin and Neil Lyon with a day to spare. After 4 days of competition in varied conditions in Porto Cervo, just 1 day now remains. In the Super Maxi division, debutant Heteros has been winning as many admiring glances as line honors. 200 feet long and modeled on the pilot cutters that used to race out to meet larger boats coming into port, she's proving a striking and surprisingly speedy addition to the Maxi yacht fleet.
In the last few years, super yachts have got bigger, but they've also got lighter, and that means they've become far more high performance. And although Heteros looks like a beautiful cruising ship, she's actually incredibly fast for her size. This boat is designed to go at 16 plus knots at just about any angle, in a decent wind speed. And that's down to the engineering. The structure of the boat is incredibly light, which allows weight to be put into the keel. It gives it fantastic righting moment, which means they can put up this enormous amount of sail area.
Racing the yacht requires a crew of 30, as befits a vessel whose spinnaker alone covers a massive 2,000 square meters.
My role is a downwind trimmer, which means probably overhauling about 75 meters of sheet, which is quite a lot. Everything's hydraulic on the boat. There aren't any manual winches, so that makes it a little bit easier for people, but it's still, the sails are anywhere from 300 to 650 kilograms each.
Launched in 2011, the construction of Heteros owes much more to modern techniques and materials than its styling would suggest.
Everything that can be carbon is carbon, but it still weighs 240 tons, which is a lot of boat. All the varnish work that you see under there, that's just a 3 or 5 mil veneer. Everything under there is carbon, all the way down to the flagpole.
There's plenty of expectation on the final day in Porto-Cervo. It's the wind that's in short supply. Honours are still undecided in 4 classes, and in 2 of them the leaders are tied, including the Mini Maxi Rolex World Championship, where Round 2 and Bellamente both have 12 points. If there's no breeze soon, the title will be settled on countback.
In 5 seconds, theoretically, they're going to decide to either send us out or pull the pin, which is, the suspense is killing us.
All Maxi Rolex competitors, this is the race committee with your 13:30 update.
Yeah.
Our 4 boats on station report conditions much unchanged with wind speed less than 2 knots. These actual conditions, coupled with forecaster updates, unfortunately will mean November over Alpha. I say again, November over Alpha, racing will be abandoned for the day. We greatly appreciate it.
Bellamente and Rahn have 3 wins each, but by virtue of their second place to Rahn's 4th earlier in the week, Hapfouth's men are the new world champions.
The Bellamente sailed very well the whole week. They were very consistent. So if anyone's going to win here, other than us, we're very happy that Bellamente wins because they've been working on this for many years and they very much deserve winning.
Lots of years of this. It was a great week. We had tremendous sailing. I've got a great crew and a new boat that we're still trying to figure out, but the outcome was just wonderful.
In the Maxi racing class, Igor Simčić's Estimate Europa 2 are named the winners. Their victory the previous day, all that separates them from Velshida and Highland Fling, with whom they're tied on points. With 2 wins already in the Wally division, Lindsay Owen-Jones adds a 3rd as Magic Carpet Squared bows out in style. Brian Benjamin's crew on Aegea take the Maxi Racing cruising title. And Philip Balcon's team on Nilaya make an emphatic defense of their title in the Super Maxi class. At the Maxi Yacht Rolex Cup, things are always evolving. New boats, new designs, new thinking. And after another challenging week, there's a new world champion. Next time on the Rolex Spirit of Yachting, we head to the Windy City for a week of high performance, one design action at the Rolex Far 40 World Championship at the Chicago Yacht Club, Lake Michigan.